What's up everybody, BigSweetC here with you. Got a special little video for you today. Today I want to talk Marvel's Avengers, the new game that's coming out by Crystal Dynamics, published by Square Enix. It is dropping its open beta for all platforms this weekend, so I wanted to get this out so you guys still had a chance to check it out if you were concerned. But just so you know, it is an upcoming action-adventure video game developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by Square Enix. Based on the Marvel Comics superhero team, the Avengers, the game is inspired by the long-running comic book mythology and adaptations in other media. It is set to release on September 4th of this year, September 4th, 2020, for Google Stadia, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. If you happen to get one of the bonus editions, you can play it on September 1st. So it's going to come out in 4 copies: the standard edition, an exclusive digital edition only available on PS4, a deluxe edition, and the Earth's Mightiest edition. The latter 3 will get you the early release on September 1st. Otherwise, look for this game on September 4th. Now let's get to the review. So we've gotten a taste of it. Now that it's got the official beta for everybody weekend, I wanted to get this out to give you an opportunity to give you an option to download it and check it out if you like this review and you wanted to give it a shot. So that's my idea, because I actually, when I first started playing the game, was kind of unsure about it, but a few hours in, I actually did start to rather enjoy it. It had a lot of really good things about it, and I kind of want to go over them now. So I'm not really going to go into the actual like gameplay moves and everything of all the characters and everything like that. Yang Yi did actually a pretty good little video himself on that kind of stuff. So if you'd like to check that out, this is going to be more so my thoughts on the actual game itself. So first and foremost, I did generally enjoy playing the game. It's a pretty good blend of like God of War and Kingdom Hearts in terms of the gameplay fighting style itself. You've got that kind of like over the shoulder third person viewpoint RPG based, depending on which character you always have some sort of projectile. You always have some sort of for instance, Thor has a magic hammer, but you know, Black Widow has what looks like almost kind of like a hook shot kind of thing. So everybody kind of has like their own kind of like, you know, both melee and distance ranged weapons, which is kind of cool. But they specialize in bigger ones than others. So like Iron Man, for instance, and Thor are a little bit better with the ranged weapons than, say, like Black Widow or even Captain America. Now, Captain America is really fun to play as, but in the demo, you only get to beat him for a little specific time, and we'll kind of get to that stuff in the end. So the gameplay is kind of cool. It's a mixture of little God of War, Kingdom Hearts style. So the Kingdom Hearts is you're still going around, you're kind of smashing stuff, and you're collecting junk that you can then use to upgrade your items and stuff later. Which kind of comes into the leveling system, which is a little bit more like Warframe and Shadow of Mordor. That's actually kind of what got me more excited into this game than any of the others. It does play out a lot like Warframe in terms of you have these kind of solo missions that then open up to the big Avengers table, and you have these, after that, you have these multiplayer missions that you can both play multiplayer or solo if you would like. If you play solo, it fills your team with AI characters from the Avengers as well, which is kind of cool. The other thing is you can only be one Avenger in a group, so you can't have like 2 Black Widows, you can't have 2 Incredible Hulks. You can only have 1 Iron Man and 1 Thor. You can only have 1 Captain America and 1 Incredible Hulk. So that it kind of makes it interesting in a couple of different ways. Like, what character do you want to level up? What character do you want to play as? Because you might not get to play as that character in a certain group if you want to play with that group. So it's kind of interesting in that way, very much like Destiny 2, where you can decide to solo yourself so to speak, or you can play with multiplayer. You can do the matchmaking and all that kind of stuff. Now, during the stream a couple of weekends ago, last weekend, couple of weekends ago, depending on when you're watching this, I did get a lot of people ask how I was able to log on. Now, because it's a beta, I'm sure it probably still has some issues, but I was able to do the matchmaking. It was kind of hit or miss. So at first, it was pretty simple to kind of find a friend to play with, and as long as we had enough people, it kind of filled out the rest for us, and we went right in. But when I tried to matchmake myself, it seemed to have a lot of problems trying to connect me with 3 other people. So now during the stream, I had 3 people. It only had to find the 1 extra, so it was probably pretty easy for that. But again, when I was playing by myself, there's probably a very good chance that I was running more across more solo players like myself, trying to find 3 more of those guys, than luckily stumbling upon a group of 3. So the matchmaking still seems to have kind of a few issues here and there, but I'm sure they're gonna have that, hopefully, knock on wood, knock knock knock, we'll have that taken care of by the time of the actual release. So we'll see. I don't know, but like I said, when I had the group of 3, there's only 4 on a team, so when I had the group of 3, it was really easy for us to get in. But when I was by myself, I actually ended up basically turning off matchmaking and just having the AI guys run with me when I was playing solo by myself. So there's some stuff there. Now, as for the characters that you begin with, during the opening kind of tutorial cutscene, you get to play as Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Black Widow, and I think there's one other that and the Incredible Hulk. So you get to play as like those 5 people, and then once you get through the cutscene, you can continue on as Ms. Marvel, which is kind of a cool character. She's actually kind of fun to play. She's like Mr. Fantastic if you're a Fantastic Four guy. But after you get done with the start cutscene, you get to play as Ms. Marvel, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, or Black Widow are the 4 choices. So now they did say they are going to. Well, they didn't really say it. Somebody data mined it from the beta, but there were 15 more unannounced characters that are going to be in the game as well, including like you got Warhammer in there. I think you have Scarlet Witch is another one. If you happen to be buying on PlayStation, you get a bonus Spider-Man, which I think is only available on PlayStation, and it's not available anywhere else. And I'm guessing they'll probably have some sort of like DLC where they bring in more Avenger characters. Now, so far so good, right? I mean, it's actually pretty decent gameplay, pretty fun to play. Gives me plenty of hope. I do have some worries on it though, because it is kind of a lot like Kingdom Hearts in certain aspects. It does have this like kind of gets boring moment, so it's not really one of those games where I like can play for hours and hours and hours on end. It might be more like one where I can play 2-3 hours at a time and then I kind of get bored with. Now I can foresee this being a problem because it is a multiplayer game, and if you want to play multiplayer and you can't find anybody because they get bored playing the game, might make it even worse. It might make the boring play even worse. So that kind of concerns me a little bit. But for the most part, it is one of those games, kind of like Destiny, that I kind of come accustomed to. It's one of those games where I can play a couple hours every couple of days and kind of get my fix in and be happy with it. And definitely get my money's worth. The other thing that worries me is a lot of the unannounced characters, and you can look it up on Google if you want to see what the leak stuff is. But a lot of them are just kind of like alternative versions of the guys that you already have. So, for instance, you can play as Iron Man or you can play as Warhammer. You can play as Captain America or you can play as the Winter Soldier. So you're not really all that different in terms of the characters that you play. It's more so you just kind of have different skins. And then, of course, you have different skins for each different skin. So, like, Iron Man's got his different skins that you can purchase if you'd like. The Winter Soldier will have his different skins that you want if you want. But for the most part, Captain America and the Winter Soldier are probably not going to be all that different in play style. So maybe one uses, one's got a shield, one's got, I think it's the gun or whatever that he's really good with or whatever. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but it's not like they're statistically speaking going to be probably pretty close to the same kind of character, right? It's not completely different from where you're going to have like Cyclops versus like Wolverine. It's not going to be that dramatically different. Now, the one thing that I will say is I hear Doctor Strange is actually part of one of the 15 unannounced characters. That I'm actually pretty intrigued in because of his whole portals thing. He will definitely be different than pretty much everybody else on the board. So that could be worth it in the end. Having said all this, like, I saw a lot of people kind of gripe about, oh, this is, kind of going to be a flop. Like, they don't even look like the Avengers and stuff. Like, the truth of the matter is, you got to kind of remember, like, on their own, the Avengers aren't really exciting characters. Like, the reason there's so many of them is because they can't really hold up a comic on their own. They don't have the strength, the structural foundation of a Spider-Man or a Wolverine, or I mean, even like the Punisher. The Punisher, even though he's more of a B-list actor, he still has his own, his own thing. But Hawkeye's not going out there and like being a hero by himself. Black Widow is as fun as she is to play with. She's not holding up an entire series, an entire franchise by herself. So, it's hard to let the worry of uninspiring characters be a reason that a game based on uninspiring characters becoming a very inspiring team. There's no reason that can't be a possibility. The two are not mutually exclusive. So. Just because you might not enjoy, just because these might not be your favorite characters individually, don't let that ruin from the idea of them teaming up and making a worthwhile team to play together, if that makes any sense. Now, the other big concern, I guess, would be I don't know much about the story. My brother, he was watching me play it a little bit the other day, and he was mentioning it's very much like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which is not a franchise that I played. I haven't really been a big fan of the Marvel games since Marvel vs. Capcom 2 originally came out, and then it got hit up with all sorts of copyright, and I never saw it again, and so I never really got into the Marvel games because of that kind of copyright stuff. I was always worried that they were just going to kind of poo-poo all over the characters, just so they could be different enough that they wouldn't get hit up with copyright strikes. So I never bothered to look into it. But all in all, I do trust Square Enix. It's a Square Enix game, in case you didn't know. Maybe I should have brought that up at the beginning. But I do tend to trust Square Enix. I don't trust Marvel so much with a lot of the stuff that they've been doing lately. But I do trust Square to make it a worthwhile story. So even though Kingdom Hearts wasn't my favorite, and I did tend to get bored with it after X amount of hours playing it, the story itself was still very interesting. So I trust Square to put together a good story, not a good enough story, a good story. So I'm not too worried about that. I think the cost will definitely be worth it. Now would just become which platform do you buy it on, because it will be available on all three and the Nintendo Switch, I believe. I will, when I do eventually get it. I'm probably not going to get it day one, but I probably will at some point buy it. Now, whether that's before the PS5 drops, that way I can get it and get the free upgrade or not, we'll see. But for the most part, I probably won't get it day one. But I will probably at some point pick it up. And when I do pick it up, I will probably buy it on PS4 simply for the bonus Spider-Man character, since Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel character. I know previously I was saying that the Avengers aren't very inspiring people, but Spider-Man does work with them on occasion, and he just happens to be a character on the PlayStation version, but not on any of the others. I believe he is PlayStation only, so that's when I do buy the game, I will probably buy it over there, because it doesn't look like my brother's going to get it, and he's the only reason I usually get anything on Xbox One. So for all you Xbox guys, I'm sorry. For all you PlayStation guys, congratulations, you win this round. But yeah, so overall, I think I'm pretty excited. You should be as well, and I think you guys are going to like this one. So once again, the details of this game are: Marvel's Avengers is a third-person action-adventure game that combines an original cinematic story with single-player and cooperative gameplay. The game can be played offline as a single-player experience or online with up to 4 people during certain aspects of the game. The game will feature customization options including abilities and costumes, which can be upgraded using a skill tree. Costumes have been sourced from all corners of the Marvel Universe and can be earned in-game or bought separately as DLC. Players will also be able to receive free updates containing new regions and characters. More to the important part, it was originally scheduled to release on May 15th of 2020, but has been pushed to September 4th. Because of the whole COVID-19 thing. So be on the lookout for this. September 4. There will be 4 editions: standard edition, an exclusive digital edition for PlayStation only, a deluxe edition, and an Earth's Mightiest edition, with the latter 3 options being playable from the 1st of September. So if you decide to do get the exclusive digital edition, the deluxe that's on PS4, the deluxe edition, or the Earth's Mightiest edition, you actually get the game on September 1st. Everybody else gets the game on September 4th. Again, available on Google Stadia, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. So I believe I said Nintendo Switch earlier. It looks like it's actually the Google Stadia instead. But again, look for this on September 4th on whatever your favorite platform is. I will probably get this on PlayStation 4. Either way, that's going to do it for this one. BigSweetC, that's me. Wishing YouTube, that's you. Wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it might be. As long as you're watching, I'm wishing you a wonderful watching time. If you did have a wonderful watching time, do me that favor. Hit that like, hit that notification bell so you do know when I do drop a new video. Hit that sub button as well. Thank you guys so much. Either way, that's going to do it for this one. Sweetness, signing off. Peace.